All right, welcome back to the DBTalks Football Podcast. Today we're going to be breaking down Barcelona's chaotic but crucial 3-1 win over Alavés at Camp Nou in the La Liga 25-26 season. And honestly, this is one of those games where the 3-1 scoreline doesn't fully tell the story of the whole game, but because Barcelona could have scored more, they could have conceded more, and there was a lot to unpack early on. And obviously, we did end up seeing Dani Olmo's brace, Raphinha's return in the starting lineup, and Pedri's cameo off the bench. And this could mean a lot before the game against Atleti on Tuesday. So yeah, I guess let's give one word about this game, each of us. If you want to go first, Brajesh.
You go first. Anything.
I'm gonna honestly just go with chaos.
I'll go with weird, I guess, because I felt like there's so many different weird things that happen throughout the game, and a lot of new things as well. So it was a bit weird, I think.
Do you wanna go with like strange for Stranger Things?
Yeah, the game was strange. Yeah, as you mentioned, Stranger Things. The new season came out. The different episodes is pretty good actually. Probably top three
Yeah, no
seasons so far.
spoilers, but it is pretty good.
Top three seasons so far.
Um, yeah. Anyways, moving on to the match, like even before the game, so some context. So obviously Barcelona are still chasing Madrid, and because Madrid dropped points recently, there was a chance for Barcelona to go top of the table. And obviously because of this win, currently Barcelona is top of the La Liga table. However, it's going to be important to see tomorrow how Madrid do against their game with Girona. So if they do drop points, it would mean that Barcelona are officially top of the table. But yeah, also there was a lot of rotation and injuries for this team in the starting lineup because we saw Bernal starting, we saw Casado starting, we saw Eric Garcia going to right back instead of Kunde, and yeah, a lot of just rotation overall. And honestly, before this game, I was hoping for Bernal and Casado to have a better game, but to be honest, they weren't too great in their own respects. And yeah, on paper this should have been a routine home win, but the way it started, it just made like a lot of worries. And yeah, if you want to go to the starting lineups, Prajesh.
For Barca, so there was Joan Garcia in net. Then we had Balde left back. Left center back we had Gerard Maldini or Gerard Martin. I think
Nice.
so. We saw him experiment in the preseason. Experimented him at left center back in the preseason. So I think he's trying to do more of that. That's because Gerard Martin's a left-footed player. So him playing left-footed center back, it actually works quite well. So then that lets Kubarsi play right center back, which he did today. Kubarsi was the right center back, and Kubarsi's strong foot is the right foot, so it's like easier for him to play there. Then right back, Eric Garcia. So Kunde didn't play today. He got benched today, basically, which was I think an interesting decision. I think a lot of it came after the Chelsea game. No Araujo in the squad because there's like a thing about the stomach virus, but also we saw a lot of reports of saying that he was like very it took a big toll on his health the after the Chelsea game. Like he's kind of processing it. So I think there's just some things there. And I know it's pretty controversial from a lot of fans. Like people are saying he's a captain, he should handle it better. But yeah, we're not sure how he's handling it right now. And the double pivot, as you mentioned, it's Casado and Bernal who started, which is very honestly very surprising because Bernal before this he barely really played. He'd get some minutes off the bench, but it was very inconsistent minutes I think, and it wasn't really enough. So seeing him start a game was pretty surprising. And then even Casado also kind of gets like minutes off the bench, and he didn't play versus Chelsea, so I was surprised to see him start. And I think you mentioned also how they didn't perform too well as you expected, and the same for me. I thought because they're both very talented, I think, so I thought it would have been a bit better, but at the same time, I can see why it didn't really work because I feel like with the double pivot midfield, the two people should have some synergy and also like experience. And I feel like something that they both lack at this moment. So going from like Pedri and John to Bernal and Cruzado, obviously a very big change. And just to mention, De Jong was also out for this game due to personal reasons, so he wasn't in the squad at all, so he didn't play at all this game. And then the attacking mid was Olmo. And you mentioned he got the brace. I think Olmo he was a bit wasteful today. I feel like at times I feel like he could have been better, but he did get a brace, so credit to him. He's kind of getting trying to get back on the scoring form. Left wing, see Raphinha back, which is very exciting because Raphinha we saw with his cameo at Chelsea against Chelsea. He looked very energetic, looked very ready to play. So and we saw even today the impact he has on the squad. He's even wearing the captain armband. So yeah, it's very exciting to see him back. Right wing Lamine Yamal. Yeah, Lamine Yamal just what can I say? This guy's him. He's amazing. Lewandowski. It's actually a fun fact, I guess. This is the first time I think 6 months that this front four played together, and also today in the back five, so the keeper and the back line, they're all Spanish. So I think that's very interesting. And yeah, I just want to take it.
You mentioned Jared Martin. I think he had a solid game because honestly, yeah, with the whole Araujo situation and Kunde in bad form, I think Martin has taken his chance in the starting lineup and he has produced a couple of good performances at left center back. So I think Flick will continue, I guess, using him in that position. And yeah, I think he did have a good game. And then obviously, yeah, Eric Garcia started at right back today. He did come off at halftime. I think there was some sort of injury issue with his face again. So hopefully he is fit enough to starting at Atleti. And then also you mentioned De Jong. I think there was yeah personal reasons. So hopefully that gets sorted out against before Atleti because we do need him in that midfield. I think right now our midfield is very dire, and also with the Pedri cameo, hopefully he is fit enough to maybe start against Atleti because that will be a big game for his title race. And yeah, you mentioned Olmo. He did get his 2 goals. Raphinha, I think he had a really good game today, just coming back off injury, and he seemed like the most energetic player already on the pitch. He seemed like he was always working hard, trying to make chances for the whole attack. And I think whenever he's in this attack, I think almost everything gets unlocked and our attack looks a lot better. So yeah, great performance from him. Yamal, I think he had a much better performance today. I think he was much more involved. He had a couple good dribbles, and there was that one shot where he got laid off by Pedri and then almost went in top corner. So yeah, good performance from him. And then obviously Lewandowski, I think he did have a pretty okay, like decent game. Nothing too special. I think obviously with this lineup, I think Flick was trying his best to balance like the fact that he needs to win today with the fact that he needs to also keep his key players fresh for Atleti because that game is in a couple days, so he needs to prepare for that game as well. And obviously, moving to Alavés, I think starting the game, they were very compact. They were playing like in a block style defense, but they were also not afraid to counter quickly. And we saw how quickly they scored. They started like I think it was like 45 seconds. They already scored from like a corner. So yeah, I think it was just another bad like a loss of concentration from the defense. And overall, just defending set pieces and overall defending. I think we need to focus a lot more but because with these small teams going against these big teams, I think if they do score early, I think it makes it almost harder for them to keep their lead because obviously when they're playing at a big stadium like Camp Nou, it makes it like the atmosphere and everything is gonna favor the home team. So I think yeah, Barcelona did look much better after they conceded that goal. And then yeah, that first Yamal goal, I think it was great play overall from the team. Again, Baldig plays a good ball to Raphinha, and as we mentioned, Raphinha has just been so crucial for this attack. And he just gets a ball in the box. It kind of goes through Lewandowski and Olmo, ends up at the feet of Yamal, and then a great like powerful and high finish from Yamal, and he makes it 1-1. And then yeah, I think overall that movement of play was really important. And Yamal at the far post, I think he did have a good goal. Do you want to talk about the Olmo goal?
Yeah. So I think you mentioned before the Raphinha. I think you just mentioned a lot of like the attack gets a lot better with Raphinha kind of gets unlocked. And that happened with the Olmo goal as well. So yeah, I think Raphinha is super crucial for his team. And yeah, with Olmo, yeah, it's a good finish from him. And yeah, I think with Olmo also we saw like early in the season he kind of was like struggling with finishing his chances. And I think we saw a bit of that today as well, but he did get a brace. So yeah, that second goal he scored was good because Barca were leading, and because Alves are also kind of looking scared at the same time, and they had some like very scary chances, like close to scoring. So Barca getting that lead was important, but I do think overall his Barca attack was a bit wasteful. I think there were so many chances that Barca could have scored, just didn't. Like even with Lamine Yamal, he had that one thing where he went tried to go past the keeper, and then I think he had like the post went out, so side heading. So yeah, yeah, that's all I can really say.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned that Yamal chance. I thought that was a really good play for overall. From like it went to from Yamal to Lewa and then Lewa back to Yamal. Honestly, I think he should have shot that first time. Yeah, I think that was a certain goal. But yeah, you mentioned he did try to like showboat and try to go around the keeper. So I think it was a bit of a wasteful decision from Yamal overall. But yeah, again, I think if we scored that goal, it would have been much better. So yeah, I think just an overall bad decision from Yamal. I think he should have scored that goal.
I don't know
But
if it's
moving on, I
showboating.
think
I don't know if it's showboating. I feel like it's like you mentioned like bad decision. I think it's like his decision making. I think that was something we saw also in this game. Like some players didn't make great decisions, I think, and that just hurt the team more than anything. So yeah,
I mean, would you not consider that showboating because he tries to ball roll around the keeper?
that's the certain finish that a lot of players do. I think he thought that he was scored like he had a better chance of scoring if he did that going around the keeper, and he kind of did. If he hit it better, he would have definitely scored, but he didn't. So I
I
think it's like
guess,
on
but
his
yeah,
decision, like his decision kind of like he thought
yeah, I think he
he could have
just
scored it,
overall should have
and
been more clinical with that chance.
his dribbling though, I
But
think it was insane.
yeah, I think his dribbling was really good. I think he did like had that one mag like near the
Oh yeah,
corner
yeah.
post. That was really good, and then a couple of dribbles like going around a couple more players. But also, I want to mention the big Joan Garcia save while he was like on the floor. I think it was one of those attacks again where Alaves play a through ball, and then again their attacker starts offside, but because the ball is played through, over time he just goes a bit behind the ball, so he's onside at that point, and then they just play it through to the attacker, and then. Um, yeah, I think initially they kind of missed the ball, and then Joan Garcia had a big save. I think he already dived one time, but because the ball was not shot yet, he had to get up quickly and then make another save. So again, really good from him. I think overall today he was really good. I think having a keeper like him is so crucial because he does save you in those big moments. And then yeah, we did see how big he was, even with that offside chance. I think he did save that. So yeah, really good game from him, I'd say. And then yeah, at halftime we were basically at 2-1. I think we could have been easily up 3-1, maybe even 4-1. But yeah, I think overall, yeah, it was a decent half to start off with. And then obviously at the second half, we saw Eric Garcia being taken off because he was slightly injured. We saw Kunde come on, and then Bernal was taken off. I think he did not have a really good game. I think he did get that yellow card as well. And then overall, like his touches were not too great, and some of his passing was a bit off. So yeah, I mean, obviously Bernal did come off like a big injury, and this is one of his first starts in the team. So yeah, no, I mean, there's not too much pressure on him, but I think give him more time, give him more minutes. I think he will come better as a player. But yeah, overall, Bernal came off. We pushed Olmo back because we saw Rashford also come on. So Olmo was playing basically DM with what's it called?
Casado, Casado.
Casado. Yeah, Casado. Um, and then yeah, in that second half, I think Flick really wanted that third goal or maybe fourth goal because he just wanted to end the game as fast as possible so he could take off his starters for Atleti. So he did go really attacking, and then we saw that Alaves did have a couple threats. There was a big chance that was saved by Joan Garcia, and then there was also that Kubarsi tackle when they had a shot off, and then Kubarsi basically made like a sliding tackle block, which was really important. And then we saw that Raphinha chance that he kind of shot it a bit wide. And then when he did get subbed off, we saw guys like Ferran Torres and Pedri come on. I think Pedri had a really good cameo today. I think he just brought that control back to the team. And Ferran Torres was decent, but nothing too special. Rashford also, I think he didn't do too much in this game. He's coming off like a flu and kind of like being out of the lineup for a while. So I think he was okay. But yeah, anything else you remember from the second half?
Yeah, but I'll quickly mention the Joan Garcia save they mentioned because I think that was like a very that was a big highlight of the game because for him to make that save when he's on the ground is just insane. Like his reaction, I think his reaction time is very good, and obviously he's younger than like Szczesny, even like someone like Ter Stegen, but his like, reaction time is just much better. So having him in net is a bit more safe, and he kind of makes those he makes some insane saves. I think if Alaves were to score that, I think the result could be a lot different because Alaves still were like pretty scary, and you even mentioned like that dangerous passes and just dangerous plays against Barca. So I think that save definitely is one of the factors on why Barca won. And then for the second half, you mentioned like the change. So Yeah, I what I realized is that Raphinha played more free before he got subbed off. He was playing as a 10 in the second half because back to the left wing. So I even noticed that sometimes that Raphinha would play kind of like up top a bit. I kind of like Lewandowski kind of drifted off like to the right at like parts in the game basically. So yeah, and I kind of like that dynamic, I guess, with Raphinha being more free roaming because I feel like he can be that type of player that can play almost anywhere in the front three. I like how he's like Dembele play for PSG, especially like last season. So I think Raphinha can be someone like that. I should begin for like let's say Flick want to try Firmino at the 10 and then like someone like Raphinha up top, then Raphinha can play almost anywhere. Kind of a false nine, I guess. And yeah, second half, I feel like the second half wasn't too eventful. We did see Barca get the third goal eventually near the end, but overall, I don't know. I feel like Barca. I don't know. I feel like Barca could have done more, just didn't do enough. I think Alves also were trying to fight back, trying to get the goal, but they weren't able to. You mentioned the Pedri sub, so yeah, we saw Pedri also get the captain armband from Raphinha. Cold picture. That was insane that moment. All those Pedri chants as well, where that atmosphere in the Camp Nou is already like you can just feel it kind of even like through the screen. So I feel like that like is important in itself for future Barca games at the stadium because Barca play Frankfurt on December the 9th in the UCL, and I'm pretty sure that's at the Camp Nou as well. So with Barca's like UCL run, which is kind of like it's not that great, having a game like that in that stadium will definitely lift morale and kind of push Barca. So and that's also just important. Yeah, Pedri's cameo I think was very good, very very good. I think having him in midfield just you can see the change kind of. Barca took a lot more control, and Pedri just dribbling like he's just dribbling throughout the entire field. He's trying to create stuff. So yeah, I think he's I don't know. I think that was an insane performance. It's good to have him back, and we'll see if he'll start because I don't know if like we'll kind of rest him a bit more. I do think he will start versus Atleti, so there's that. Anything other? I think Ferran, because you mentioned Ferran also came on. I don't know, I feel like with Ferran, like a lot of people don't trust him enough just because he missed the chances as well. So I think Ferran needs to kind of step up his finishing and just score the goals that he has. Like any clear chance, he has to score it because I feel like there's like he's losing the connection with some fans. I think like fans like don't think he's that good anymore. They call him the bubble guppy, the fish instead of the shark. So I don't know. I think Ferran can definitely
Yeah.
improve in that regard. It's also good to have someone as a backup like striker, I guess, to Lewandowski because Lewandowski, I don't know if he'll be able to play full 90s like too much. So and Franz also we've seen him score like last season he was scoring, so he has to kind of regain that form eventually. And yeah, we also saw the for the third goal, the almost got his brace and then Lamine Yamal got an assist. It was a good assist, I think, and a good finish. It was good to end the game like that. So yeah, it's overall solid performance. I think also I just want to mention Joan Garcia had some good tackles as well, so I think he was also just very good. He surprised me, I
Yeah,
guess.
just yeah, just a bit more on the Pedri cameo. I think yeah, especially when he came on, Barcelona finally had someone in midfield who like wanted the ball under pressure and could dictate the rhythm throughout the game. I think we've missed him so much because we see how much of a difference he can make in the lineup. And and then yeah, you also mentioned the Olmo goal, the last minute goal. I think obviously it was from a corner. It was a counter attack. I think at that point Alaves were obviously trying to get the equalizer, and they were kind of like throwing the kitchen sink at Barca. So obviously there was a lot more space for Barca to counter attack. And then we saw Olmo get the ball. He passed it to Yamal. Yamal back to Olmo, and then a pretty good left-footed finish from Olmo. I think it was pretty crucial for Olmo's confidence because especially with Fermin out for a while, I think Olmo is gonna have to step up in these upcoming games. And I think he is gonna have to deliver if he wants to, I guess, prove himself to Flick and the whole team. And hopefully we do see this Yamal and Olmo link up more often because even before we signed Olmo in that Euros run, I think Olmo was so good. I think he looked so like just special and unique in that Spain team. I mean, since he's come to Barca, he's kind of showed flashes of that, but nothing too special so recently. So I think if he does pick up his form, it's going to be important for this Barca team. But if we move on to our player performance segment, I think we can just talk about our top three players this game. I'll go first. Obviously, I put Raphinha there. I think just in like his 60-minute cameo, I think he was really, really special. He was always like energetic and kind of making things happen for this Barca team. He did have that assist, which was really good. I think he should have ended up with two assists because of that, I guess, pass to Yamal. But yeah, I think he just was really good. Obviously, I put Yamal in there. I think he did have a much better game today. I think if these types of games he can do well, I think he needs to start proving himself in the bigger games, especially against Atleti coming up. I think he did prove himself last season with that winner. I think if he replicates something like that in Tuesday, I think it's going to be really important for his confidence going forward. And then for the third best player, honestly, I would give it to either Olmo or Joan Garcia. I think Joan Garcia did have a really good performance, but Olmo obviously got that brace. On Olmo, I think both of his goals, I think he was really like he was in good positions for both those goals. But overall, I don't think he had like too crazy of an impact in this game. But yeah, specifically for those two goals, I think he was in the right position at the right time, which was good for his confidence going forward. Your thoughts?
My top three is a bit similar, but my third player is different. So yeah, I have Raphinha in the top three for sure because I count as two assists. I feel like that should be his assist. But yeah, even then, we talk about again like the energy. I feel like Raphinha is kind of special in that regard because he kind of just. I think he's one of those like, very passionate players who just he wants to bring a lot of passion and energy in his game. He runs a lot, presses a lot, and he's also very skillful. So and yeah, like the assist he got was very smart from him, the good passes. So I think he definitely brightens up Barca's just attack overall. Just I guess the energy that Barca emit. Then Lamine Yamal, I think Lamine Yamal today is honestly insane. I mean, his we talked about dribbling as well. He always like receives the ball from deep and like can dribble past like the entire team if he wants to. I've seen that a bit as well. He's able to dribble past a lot of players. Let's see if he's receiving from deep. Then you mentioned the bag he got from like the sideline, well, the like end of the field basically, right? And then he bagged him and then tried to get past. And then he got like I want to say it's a pen or a foul, but he kind of fell, I guess, from the defender got pushed. But yeah, I think Lamine Yamal was just very good today. He got the goal and assist, so he's putting up he's putting a lot of G. He has currently 85 goals and assists in his career, if I'm not mistaken. It's 85, which for an 18-year-old is I don't think we've ever seen that before. So yeah, it's just crazy. I think he's in some very good form. The Chelsea game being kind of an outlier because he didn't perform too well, but if he's able to continue this form, then yeah, I think it'll just help Barca a lot. My third player is actually Pedri. And I feel like when Pedri came on, I feel like Barca were more stable. I think like I remember I forgot who exactly said this, but I think one of the Barca players something said that like if you don't have a not sure what to do or if you're in like a situation, pass the ball to Pedri and he'll do it for you. So I noticed that like Blockers give the ball to Pedri and they rely on Pedri a bit to like make that decision on what to do. So I just think when he came on, it felt more safe. I think Pedri brings something very unique and special to this team. I even told you like I think a year or so ago, I was like, this guy reminds me of Busquets, Xavi, and Iniesta in one play because I feel like he has qualities of each of them in his game style. So yeah, I just think he was very good. I don't think he made a single mistake today in his cameo. I just feel like he did everything right. I just think he's important. I just think that cameo is hard to like not put top three for me. I think it just coming from an injury and just doing that, wearing the captain armband, I think it's just special. But I will say shout out to Joan Garcia because I think he's actually the top five players that performed because he made some good saves and having a keeper like that makes Barca Barca feel more safe having a keeper like that. I feel like he's definitely one of the best keepers in the world. So he was very good. I also want to shout out the Gerard Martin because I think he was good, and I think I want to mention Balde a bit. I don't think Balde was like anything too crazy or like special today, but I think he had a few good moments, and I think I wish he was more involved, kind of because I think I would wish to see him use more of his pace, like more consistently throughout the games, and like his running and dribbling, because I feel like he's very good at that. And we didn't really see it much today, so I think if he does that, I think just if anything, it just strengthens Barca. So uh, yeah, that's pretty much what I think for the performances. Yeah.
Yeah, I do respect the Pedri shout at like being the top three players of this game because we did see like the past game and with the Chelsea game how lackluster our midfield was and how we it felt like we were missing just like a whole player in that role, and how in this game just Pedri took control as soon as he came on. So yeah, I do respect that, but overall, if we look at this game, it's obviously an important 3 points before the Atleti game. We get a bit of momentum and confidence, and I guess a better breathing room. And hopefully, Madrid drop points tomorrow because there is pressure on them now. And basically, for La Liga, I think Barca's job is simply to keep winning their games because. Yeah, I think Madrid overall this season, I think they will start dropping points because in recent form they haven't looked too convincing. So yeah, I think just Barca right now they need to keep winning their games in La Liga to keep up that pressure on Madrid. And obviously, the main concern for this team right now is the conceding clear chances against all opposition we face. I think that same through ball and then against the high line again, keeping like a tap in position for the other attacker. I think that always gets exposed against this high line. So obviously, we need to fix that before the Atleti game, and hopefully, we don't concede a chance like that against them. But the main positives from this game, obviously, Pedri's back. That's going to be crucial. Raphinha looks sharp, even though he just came back from injury. Yamal and Olmo were looking pretty good in the attack. And in the first, for the first time in weeks, we've seen like there's a lot of attacking depth, and we have a lot of variety in our attack. Obviously, midfield isn't looking too great in depth, but I think overall in attack right now we're looking a lot. We have a lot more variety, and I think again with Flick's main philosophy, it's obviously to score more goals than you can see. Like even if they score 3 or 4 goals, we can score 5 or 6. So with our attack being like mostly fit and with most of our players coming back from injury, I think it's gonna help Flick, I guess, use his attack to his best ability. Overall man of the match, honestly, I would give it to maybe Yamal. I think he did have a good game today. My biggest worry after this game, obviously, the conceding those types of goals against like set pieces and those early chances with the through ball. I think if because Atleti, we've seen how scary Sorloth can be for us when he plays against us. And even today, he scored like a brace, so that's a bit scary before the Barca game, and he always like scares us. So yeah, I think if we don't if we don't defend properly and if we concede from set pieces and stuff, we could be vulnerable to Atleti's overall uh, attack and their overall play. And I think one thing Flick must fix before Atleti, I think it's going to be crucial to, I guess, fix his defending system. I think he has to control possession because we've mentioned in a lot of weeks and a lot of games that our best method of defense is actually holding onto the ball and, I guess, keeping possession as much as possible. So I think Flick must, I guess, instill that into all the players. And I think before the Atleti game, he needs to, I guess, fix up his issues in defense and hopefully he can pick his best attack to go against Atleti's defense. I think also Flick, I think he does have a bit of a dilemma against for the Athletic game. I think in regards to the midfield, I think he might consider starting Pedri because how important he can be for this team. I think partnering Pedri, I think hopefully if De Jong is like there's no issues with De Jong, I think obviously De Jong will start. But if there's is issue, I think Casado could also be in contention to start. But yeah, any other thoughts from you?
For the man of the match, it's between definitely Raphinha and Lamine Yamal, I think. I think either can be definitely argued. I know Raphinha got the official man of the match, like the La Liga man MVP, so yeah, I'm not sure really who to pick between the two. I think some positive. I think one thing I think is that with the after Barca conceded the first goal, I think it took Barca like 7 minutes around there to get a goal back. So I think that shows a lot about how like, Barca are kind of trying to get to respond to like conceding, which I think is definitely really important. And I think we even saw like last year, like Barca has so many comeback games, like so many iconic games. Like the first one that comes to mind is obviously the Benfica game, and then there's also Celta Vigo. And then and those games, and even like the inter games when Barca were down, Barca were able to score basically. So yeah, I think having Barca be able to quickly respond because you just know how weak the defense is. So that's like being able to respond back to conceding is definitely a very important thing that Barca can do. And so yeah, I think that's just a very big positive, and that's just something that's you have to just help get results and to win. And the negatives, I mean, yeah, I mean the conceding that early on is very concerning as well. Because I mean, I feel like that concedal was like a mix of like accidents and mistakes, I guess. Like Casado tries to clear it, but he also like falls and he keeps the player on side. But then the ball also hits, I believe it was Bernal. Like it hits Bernal and goes back to the Alavés attacker and he scores off that. It was a
I
weird
think it was
concede in my opinion.
Kubarsi.
No, it was Bernal. It
Was
was
it not
Bernal.
Kubarsi?
No, it was Bernal. I'm pretty sure it's Bernal. We can
Okay.
look back, but whoever it was, it's still. I think it was like kind of like I wouldn't blame him too much. It just hits them kind of, and it goes back to the Alpha attacker, and they score. I feel like that was just a weird concede. I think what was more concerning was the chances the Barca were giving up after, like the Joan Garcia having to make that save. It shows how weak the defense kind of was. But even the chance where there's an Alpha attacker on like the byline, and then Eric Garcia's there, and Eric Garcia loses the duel, and then they get the cross in. I feel like that's just kind of worrying because Eric Garcia losing like that just weakens. Like it makes the chance for Alves even better to score off of. So can't really do that. And yeah, we mentioned about the Atleti game. It's gonna be a very big game because Atleti is only 3 points behind Barca. So and I mean honestly, when the season first started, Atleti were kind of dropping points. Like they were getting a lot of draws. But you'd be surprised to see that they actually only have one loss in La Liga. But so they have less losses than Barca in La Liga. And I remember at the start of the season, they were getting a lot of draws. So I mean, we kind of were mentioning how they were not like in good form at all. And I actually said that they weren't gonna make, I think top 3 or 4. I forgot what I said. I guess I'll be proven wrong right now because they're third right now. And they're definitely they're a scary team. And they have Alvarez, who's definitely one of the most informed players in the world. And they have Sorloth, who is definitely one of the most informed players against Barcelona specifically. So that's just kind of uh, it's hard to deal with, I guess, especially with Barca's defense concerns. So having those attackers, Barca kind of have to prep a lot for that. Find ways to make sure that Barca don't concede, and especially just score against Atleti because Atleti also knows a very defensive team and like Simeone's tactics. So Barca will have to somewhat break that. I think someone who'll be important for that is Lamine Yamal and Pedri and Raphinha. I feel like those will definitely be important players. I think Olmo can also be good. Coming off 2 goals, I think he's just very good at tight spaces and like I think he's very good at that stuff. So I think it can definitely help. I'm not sure if Pedri will start. I mean, I feel like he might because I don't think it'd be weird to start someone like Bernardo Cruzado after today, in my opinion, because I feel like they didn't show too much anything crazy. So I think De Jong and Pedri would be the double pivot. And speaking of that, I actually kind of want to ask you some questions because mainly towards Araujo and Koundé because I feel like Koundé be bench was a very I don't know what the word is, but like it was a very interesting decision by Flick because I guess coming off that Chelsea game, he didn't have that good of a game, so he got benched. But I was gonna ask you, I guess, like, do you think Eric Garcia should be the new right back over Koundé, and would Koundé have to stay on the bench, or do you think Koundé can have a chance at playing as a center back? Because we know that the center back, like some of the Kubarsi, hasn't been that impressive. Like, do you think Koundé can even take a spot as a right center back? Like even with Araujo, like how is Araujo going to recover? Is he gonna? Do you think he can even become a starter again for Barca? And like, is he gonna like how would he? Do you think he'll play against Atleti like as a starter, like off the bench? Or what do you think about that? I think it's very interesting.
Yeah, I think for Flick and especially how he runs his high line, it's important to have like a back four that's like solid and always like week in week out starting. And I think right now Flick doesn't have that because he does have a lot of injured players, a lot of inconsistent players, and especially like Koundé, I think he's been really inconsistent and poor this season. I think mentioning on Air Garcia, I think right now, I think he has to be undroppable from the starting lineup because he has been like pretty like solid so far this season. I think at right back, I think he did have a pretty good game, but he did go off injured, so hopefully he's not like too injured to like miss games in the future. But I think right now he does start in that right back position. I think Kundi, I think I just give him more time because we did see how last season how important he was, how consistent he was. If he, I mean, we haven't seen him play at center back like for a while, a lot of time. So I mean, Flick could experiment with that, but I think him and Kubarsi, I don't know how well that would work because they're both kind of not that tall, not that physical, and I guess Kunde, I mean, I would want to see that. I guess that work when one like Flick experiment with that in one game, because I guess a back four of like Balde, Kubarsi, Kunde, and then Eric Garcia. I think that could actually work against like I guess like sit back team. And then you also mentioned Araujo. I think Araujo with this whole situation right now, I think he has to like just like keep like stay out of the lineup for quite a while because I think he has been really like after that Chelsea game he has been affected deeply. So especially with like the fans and stuff, I think he has been getting a lot of criticism. So I think it's best for him to stay out of the lineup for a while. And I think what he has to do for the future, I guess, stay on the bench for a bit. I think he needs to maybe get a couple of good cameos off the bench. We did see like when he came on, played striker, got that important goal. I think moments like that can, I guess, build his confidence. I think he can get, I guess, build his relationship back with the fans because he is our club captain at the end of the day. So I think he has to, I guess, yeah, cope with that for a bit. I think Flick rushing him back into the lineup, I think that will not be like wise from Flick. But overall, yeah, I think Flick needs to, I guess, find his back four that's consistent and always starting. Because obviously last season we had Kubarsi and Inigo always starting like every game, every important game, because we saw how well they work together and how they complement each other like that well. So I think Flick is gonna have to find that partner for Kubarsi specifically. But overall, I think that's our breakdown of Barcelona's 3-1 victory over Alaves. I think this was a game with a lot of chaos at the start, and it ended up being a vital win for Barca. With like obviously we saw Dani Olmo's brace, we saw Yamal have a couple good moments and a solid cameo from Pedri before the Atlético game. I think, yeah, let us know your player ratings and who your man of the match was and whether this performance makes you more confident or more nervous heading into Atleti. And yeah, don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow DB Talks on all their platforms. And yeah, we'll see you later. Thank you.
Bye.